Abu Musa Jabir Ibn Hayyan Al-Azdi, sometimes called al-Harrani and al-Sufi, is considered the father of Arab chemistry and one of the founders of modern pharmacy. He was known to the Europeans as Geber. He was born in the city of Tus in the province of Khorasan in Iran in 721 AD. His father Hayyan Al-Azdi was an Attar, which means pharmacist, from the Arabian tribe in Yemen, who resided in the city of Kufa in Iraq during the rule of the Umayyads. Hayyan supported the Abbasid revolt against the Umayyads and moved to Iran, where Jabir was born. The family fled to Yemen after Hayyan was caught and executed by the Umayyads. Jabir studied in Yemen under the tutelage of the scholar Harbi Al-Himyari. He returned back to Kufa after the Abbasids dynasty took over. It is claimed that he became a student of Imam Jafar Al-Sadiq. He learned chemistry, alchemy, pharmacy, philosophy, astronomy, and medicine. He became the court alchemist during the reign of Caliph Haroun Al-Rashid and was a physician working for his grand ministers, vizir, the Barmakids. He died at the old age of 94 in 815 AD in Kufa. Jabir suggested 3 categories for the natural elements: spirits, which vaporize on heating; metals like gold, silver, lead, iron, and copper; and stones that can be converted to powder. This nomenclature could represent the beginning of more recent classifications of elements. Jabir Ibn Hayyan is called the father of chemistry because he gave the scientific explanation for the creation of multiple substances such as acids, steels, etc. He made many contributions to chemistry, including discovering chemical compounds and techniques that are still used today. Jabir Ibn Hayyan is credited with the introduction of experimental methodology into alchemy and the invention of several chemical processes used in modern chemistry. First one is crystallization. Crystallization is the process by which solids form, where the atoms or molecules are highly organized into a structure known as a crystal. Some ways by which crystals form are precipitating from a solution, freezing, or more rarely deposition directly from a gas. His second greatest achievement is calcination. Calcination is thermal treatment of a solid chemical compound, whereby the compound is raised to high temperature without melting under restricted supply of ambient oxygen, generally for the purpose of removing impurities or to incur thermal decomposition. Third one is sublimation. Conversion of a substance from the solid to the gaseous state without its becoming liquid. An example is the vaporization of frozen carbon dioxide at ordinary atmospheric pressure and temperature. The phenomenon is the result of vapor pressure and temperature relationships. Next one is evaporation. Evaporation is the process by which a liquid turns into a gas. It occurs when heat breaks the bonds between liquid molecules. Jabir Ibn Hayyan invented the alembic in 721 AD, a device used to separate and purify substances by boiling point. The alembic is a type of still that consists of a container that's heated to produce vapors, which then condense into a liquid. How the alembic works. A liquid is placed in the container and heated. Vapors rise and pass through a tube into another vessel. The vapors condense back into a liquid. Jabir Ibn Hayyan discovered sulfuric acid after boiling copper sulfate, zinc sulfate, iron sulfate, and cobalt sulfate. After heating the compounds, they converted to their oxides, thus giving off sulfur trioxide and water, which combined forms sulfuric acid. He is recognized as the first scientist to isolate and identify hydrochloric acid. Jabir Ibn Hayyan discovered hydrochloric acid by mixing common salt, sodium chloride, with sulfuric acid, which produced gaseous hydrochloric acid through a process of distillation. Essentially, he created hydrochloric acid by heating a mixture of salt and sulfuric acid together, allowing the gaseous HCl to be collected and then dissolved in water to form the acid solution. Jabir Ibn Hayyan also discovered nitric acid. Nitric acid were discovered by the distillation of several salts with sulfuric acid. Jabir Ibn Hayyan discovered Aqua Ragia. Jabir combined hydrochloric and nitric acid, which resulted in nitrohydrochloric acid, which is more commonly known as Aqua Ragia. Aqua Ragia is a corrosive, fuming, highly toxic and acidic solution of hydrochloric and nitric acid. It's used to dissolve noble metals like gold, platinum, and palladium. The name comes from the Latin phrase Aqua Ragia, which translates to royal water. Jabir Ibn Hayyan prepared various metals, developed steel, dyed cloth and tanned leather, varnished waterproof cloth, used manganese dioxide in glassmaking, prevented rusting and identified paints and grease. Jabir Ibn Hayyan was also known as a physician, astronomer, engineer, and physicist. He wrote a book called The Book of the Blossom for the Caliph Haroun Al-Rashid. It is claimed by some authors that he was a prolific writer, authoring 300 books on philosophy, 1,300 books on mechanical devices, and hundreds of books on alchemy. This very large body of Arabic writings, many of them highly tantalizing, pass under the name of Jabir Ibn Hayyan. This corpus Jabirianum, with over 500 titles, was suspected by other authors as not having been written by Jabir himself, but were instead additions by his students or followers, and considered products of the Jabir school in alchemy. Others thought some of these books were written by Jabir, while others were written at a later time over a period of 2 centuries. This is the story of the legendary man Jabir Ibn Hayyan, known as the father of chemistry,